everybody, welcome back to another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News, this show that may or may not be 5 minutes. Today in the news, and there is a lot of it, so let's start with something good. Embracer Group is taking a stand on crunch, with Dambuster Studios, the devs behind Dead Island 2, Helen Hayes, saying that crunch shouldn't even be a thing. In a video, she states that she's been in human resources in many industries and that all of them have important projects and important deadlines, but somehow get done without ridiculous crunch culture.
This isn't the only industry that delivers against time, cost and quality, and other industries deliver these complex projects to important deadline dates without their staff having to live through this horror. I've only been in the industry 4 years, but when I look in and when I hear the horror stories of, people telling their story of living under their desks for 3 days, living on warm beer and cold pizza, it's rite of passage, ego, machismic rubbish. This doesn't have to happen and it shouldn't be happening now.
She goes on to say that there are many things game companies can do to fix this, but really it all comes down to the leadership, the people at the top, those making the decisions who set the example for everyone else. Because the truth is, a lot of the people running companies now, when they were younger, they went through crunch. And for them, it felt like a rite of passage. And because they did it, they feel it's okay for the new people coming onto their teams and a part of their companies. It's fine if they have to go through it too. It makes you stronger or whatever. But the idea is they shouldn't have had to go through it to begin with. And the fact that they're just passing that on to the next generation of developers is wrong. I think it's fantastic that Embracer Group has been tackling this, and honestly, Embracer Group's been putting up a lot of wins lately, and the cynical side of me is a little worried because I'm waiting for another shoe to drop, but for the moment, they're shaping up to be a really good publisher, so fingers crossed. In other writing was on the wall news, G4 has had a series of layoffs. Yesterday, we found out that the rebooted G4 let some of its staff go, a few even being show talent, after struggling for some time to not only figure out what it is, but also how to spend money wisely. It's been roughly a year since the channel relaunched as a TV streaming YouTube thing, and at least to me, it always seemed like an idea with too much money and no direction. I defy you to tell me what it is. Is it a TV channel? Because it's not on my cable package. Is it a YouTube channel? Because actually it's several YouTube channels with content spread across them. Is it a stream? I mean, I guess kinda. They do stream, but they rely on other streamers rather than their own talent. I have nothing bad to say about the talent at G4. A lot of them are my friends, and they're amazing people. The problem has always been and continues to be the people at the top. The choices they're making, the wastes of money, and the things they're spending stuff on, it doesn't make any sense. There's no direction. I don't know what the hell it's supposed to be. I still haven't figured out a year later. It just seems like they expected something to happen and kept expecting it to happen. And they've yet to address the biggest problem with the reboot, which is right now, every YouTube gamer is their own G4. Years ago, when YouTube wasn't a thing and G4 was on TV, it was this place you could go to watch gaming content, and it was rare and it was unique. Now it is just one of the crowd, and they have to stand out, but they're not doing anything to stand out. And that's going to be a problem and will continue to be a problem. And if they make it to this point next year, I will be surprised. And now it's time for our Xbox versus PlayStation battle update. As I'm sure you're aware, I keep talking about it, Microsoft wants to buy Activision Blizzard, but first, this merger must be approved by governments around the world, as it could potentially bring up some major antitrust issues. If you're not a legal scholar, basically antitrust laws exist to ensure fairness in competition. Essentially preventing monopolies, for example. That's right, if you win at the game of Monopoly, you're the bad guy. Well, as governments of the world are making their decisions, Sony has been in the background arguing that it shouldn't be allowed. And so far, to mixed results. But in the UK, the Competition and Markets Authority, CMA, has taken some issues with the merger, as we talked about before. Well, today they officially expanded to a second phase of their inquiry due to major antitrust concerns. And the battle continues, with Sony claiming still that Microsoft owning all of Call of Duty would kill competition, and Microsoft says that we're gonna let Sony have the franchise for a few more years, it's fine, what's the big deal? And Sony's like, the next few years, but what about after that? And the fighting continues. It's pretty wild to see, but no more wilder than patreon.com/Jesse Cox. That's where we went, where you can hang out with Emma Jane, Cyclone Edge, and tattletale. Anyway, that's it for the show. Thanks so much. Back tomorrow with another episode of 5 Minute Gaming News.